This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning for July 26, 2023, man killed in ferry accident in Trelawney identified. The man who was killed in a ferry crash on a section of the Higmean Road in Trelawney on Monday has been identified. He is 74-year-old Rodney McCrae of Mansfield in Uchiria, St. Anne. Reports from the Falmouth police are that about 4 p.m., McCrae was driving his Honda CRV motorcar towards St. Anne when he allegedly overtook a line of traffic and collided with an international tractor-trailer. The Honda CRV reportedly burst into flames on impact. The fire department was alerted, and the firefighters who responded carried out cooling down operations. McCrae's charred remains were later retrieved from the vehicle. He was burnt beyond recognition. The driver of the tractor-trailer received minor injuries. Nikisha Waugh, who knew McCrae from church, described him as loving. Brother McCrae was very jovial. He was a people person. He was giving. He loved the children. He loved family, always a smile. Lovely man, I tell you, never seen anybody like in any contention with him. He will be missed, she bemoaned. She said the church members will join hands in supporting the family. Monday's accident brings to 224 the number of people who have been killed in crashes since the start of the year. The National Road Safety Council has again called on citizens to be vigilant on the roads. Vice Chairman of the Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, urged the motorists to obey the road codes. I think it is useful to remind all Jamaicans to wear seatbelts front and back when you are driving. Do not smoke marijuana and drive. Put on your helmets, both the rider of the motorcycle and the pillion rider. Make sure you wear light-colored clothing at night if you are a pedestrian, he said. Hitman in Trelawney Church murder gets 42 years in prison. Dwight Bingham, the man who admitted to killing banker Andrew Lowe Garwood during a church service in Trelawney 2 years ago, has been sentenced to 42 years behind the bars. The killing of Mrs. Lowe Garwood had sent shockwaves around the country. Prosecutors had urged Chief Justice Brent Sykes, who presided over the trial, to impose the maximum sentence possible for the heinous crime. Chief Justice Sykes, who opted to impose a fixed term instead of sentencing him to life, ordered that Bingham serve 30 years behind bars before becoming eligible for parole. Chief Justice Sykes had originally sentenced Bingham to 45 years, but later shaved 3 years off the sentence due to the period of time he has served in jail. He also sentenced Bingham to 22 years for illegal possession of a firearm and ammunition. Another defendant in the case, Leon Hines, was sentenced to 6 years in prison after he cooperated with the prosecutors. Prosecutors disclosed that Bingham was seated behind Lowe Garwood inside the church during the service. He then shot her 4 times before fleeing the church and hopping into a waiting car that was driven by Hines. The other worshippers, including the pastor, were left in shock. Bingham's cellular phone fell to the ground as he fled the scene, and this assisted investigators in finding him. Mrs. Lowe Garwood's stepson, Javon Garwood, was also charged in the case, but prosecutors ended the case against him after they were not able to convince Bingham to testify against him. Mad Cobra arrested for possession of cocaine and a gun. Veteran dancehall artist Mad Cobra, whose given name is Stuart Everton Brown, was arrested on Tuesday after deputies in Florence County, South Carolina, pulled him over for a traffic stop and discovered 2 kilograms of cocaine in his vehicle, according to the sheriff's office. A release from the Florence County Sheriff's Department said that 55-year-old Brown of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, was arrested after deputies initiated a traffic stop on his black BMW SUV for speeding. Once deputies had Brown stopped, they reportedly had reasonable suspicion of criminal activity and asked Brown to consent to search his vehicle. During the search, the deputies discovered 2 kilograms of cocaine and a 9mm Beretta. He now faces charges of trafficking cocaine and the possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Brown was taken into custody and is currently being held at the Florence County Detention Center, awaiting a bond hearing. The DJ Mad Cobra was a huge star in the 1990s. He recently enjoyed a surge in popularity as his flex hit was sampled by American singer-actress Janelle Monáe in her latest single, Lipstick Lover. Flex was included on Mad Cobra's major label debut album, Hard to Wet, Easy to Dry, Columbia Records. The single rose to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, number 1 on the Rap Singles chart, and number 7 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. Mad Cobra is also known for the hit singles Press Trigger, Diss Them Anyway, Done Wife, and Defend It. Indicom probing fatal shooting of taxi operator by cop in St. Andrew. Investigators from the Independent Commission of Investigations are probing the fatal shooting of a taxi operator by a police constable in St. Andrew on Monday evening. The shooting occurred during a reported domestic dispute at a house on Colleyville Avenue in the Kingston 20 area about 9 o'clock. The deceased is 29-year-old Stephen Lee Powell of Sackville Road, Vineyard Town, and Brook Avenue, Kingston 20. It is reported that Mr. Powell's ex-girlfriend and the police constable were at the house in Colleyville Avenue when he entered the yard and began banging on the door. Investigators say he eventually forced his way into the house through a window, pulled a ratchet knife, and attacked the woman. The police constable reportedly pulled his service pistol and fired 9 rounds in the direction of Mr. Powell in defense of the woman. The taxi operator, who sustained multiple bullet wounds, was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Indicom head Hugh Faulkner told the news that he has taken charge of the case. The constable's firearm was seized for testing as part of the investigation. Parliament passes bill to extend the tenure of DPP despite opposition's objection. A bill to extend the tenure of the Director of Public Prosecutions was passed in the House of Representatives despite strong objections from the parliamentary opposition. The Constitution Amendment of Sections 96(1) and 121(1) Act 2023, tabled by Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, seeks to extend the retirement age of both the Auditor General and the Director of Public Prosecutions from 60 to 65 years. Mr. Chuck said the move was necessary as the constitutionally established ceiling for the age of retirement for the Auditor General and the Director of Public Prosecutions is 5 years shorter when compared with the upper limit for a public officer in the civil service.
Madam Speaker, the proposed amendment to the Constitution thereby addresses the inconsistency that currently exists between the two pieces of legislation and, by extension, creating a more level playing field for all. These amendments raise the age of retirement to 65 years and allow the Governor General, in appropriate cases, to permit an extension up to 70 years.
But as he objected to the bill, Opposition Leader Mark Golding contended that the manner in which the government is seeking to extend the DPP's tenure is reflective of bad governance. Mr. Golding said the decision is being taken without a consultation with the opposition. He confirmed in the House of Representatives that the opposition will be challenging the decision in court.
To seek to amend the Constitution of Jamaica by bringing a bill, tabling it on the same day that they intend to debate it and pass it in the House. It is disrespectful to the opposition, it is disrespectful to the Constitutional Reform Committee, and it is a dark day for our country. It is one thing to amend the Constitution to deal with future office holders, but you're dealing with incumbent office holders and extending their tenure in office. And we object to the procedure that is being followed, and as I've said, we'll be taking legal advice on it to see whether or not we can challenge it in court based on the procedure being followed and the overall surrounding circumstances that have led the government to proceed in this way.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.